mid-March, the weekend right before St. Patrick's Day, On the Water director Skip Diebel and I were getting together actually in Midland, Michigan to welcome him to Chicago Yacht Club. And we were there. We also took news that day that the state of Illinois, the city of Chicago, as well as the Chicago Yacht Club was going to close with the COVID-19.
We were always holding out hope that we would be on the water at some point. So we were very hesitant to cancel anything, including when the National High School Sailing Association and the Midwest Sailing Association said it's over. We were still in denial. We were still going to deliver programming here at the Chicago Yacht Club.
We realized immediately that we needed to do something because we had an expectation of about 80 kids to come sail with us starting on March 16th.
One of the things we jumped into right away was engaging our kids, engaging our student athletes virtually. And we created a Google Classroom, built a Zoom account, and are having a lot of fun.
We knew nothing about it at that time. Admittedly, we knew nothing about it. So Dave, our sailing director, took the bull by the horns and really embraced the challenge. It was not easy, and it took a whole new level of skill set, and we're not perfect at it, but we do deliver a pretty nice product. And we get interaction with the kids, which is all that we're after. That's the goal.
And we do virtual high school practices 3 days a week, every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Today we'll run a mock protest room. We have 3 different rule scenarios already posted in the Google Classroom with diagrams, so the kids have some time to review that. And then we're also we started a book club. We're reading a great title called Mind Gym, MINDGYM, and it's a very interactive book, has activities and lessons that go along with it, and we have the kids participate in helping lead those discussions as well.
On March 16th, we would have had JV practice, and then on the 17th, varsity practice. Our Google Classrooms are integrated, and so it's an ability for the varsity to mentor the JV, and the JV to ask some questions that then maybe make the varsity think of something that they hadn't thought about in a while. And I think, too, that the individual that may not raise their hand has a wonderful opportunity to participate within this virtual world because it isn't so much all eyeballs on me.
Mm-hmm.
And so we are hearing more and more from individuals that you might say are more in the shadows that are coming out into the light despite being stuck at home.
We have several student athletes that are blockheads within the program, and one thing that I've always admired about the blockhead program is the sharing of information, the sharing of knowledge, and that it's also done by the blockheads. And it's wonderful to see, and we definitely take some ideas from that, and we make sure that our student athletes are also willing to share their information and share their knowledge.
So one of the first virtual classrooms we had was with Steph Robel and Maggie Shea, who did a fantastic job just conversing with kids and giving them their ideas and relating it back to their experiences here at Chicago Yacht Club. And then we had a couple of alum who came and talked to us about college sailing. And both of those classrooms, the size of the Zoom classroom grows exponentially.
The expression that we had to punt on the season, that's one thing we didn't want to do. We simply just didn't want to punt on the season.
We were talking about, okay, what's our program going to look like if, and this is, and we've been taking that premise throughout the entire shelter in place. And so with regard to the junior program, there may be an order that comes from the mayor's office that says the park is open, you have to safely social distance, and I will allow boating, but only one person per boat. In which case, we don't have a lot of single-handed boats outside of the Opti and a few lasers. So what we've talked about is, okay, what will we have to do to single-hand a 420, for example, for both junior sailing and adult sailing? And one of the ideas that came up was, we've got a whole set of sails that we just replaced, so perhaps we cut the main sail down and use an existing jib and see how it balances out with a different rake configuration, and how does that work and how will it work. We're talking right now about, okay, if you're allowed to have 2 people in a boat, but you have to save social distance, how do we mark the 420s accordingly so that the kids aren't sitting close together? So we've got a plan to perhaps get vinyl graphics and you sit here and you sit here. We've talked about shortening the hiking tiller on the 420 so that it forces the drivers to sit back a little bit more. So a lot of these scenarios are playing in our discussions, and as a team, we talk about this often in all disciplines, from junior sailing all the way up to adult sailing.
So yeah, this has just been, it's been very rewarding, you know, to go out, to engage these kids, and then to also see them respond, and they do. We've learned some stuff that we will keep doing. We will always have a Google Classroom for our programs now. We will always use that as a storage space for the kids to post comments and questions, where we can upload different rule situations, where we can upload video. And that part will always remain with us going forward. And I think that will be a nice addition to our programming or our practice time on the water that we're currently unable to do.
Another addition that we're going to take away from this for future is normally in the wintertime we go kind of dormant. And with the virtual classroom, we can engage throughout the year.